Namaskar. Welcome to Conversations with Rakesh. Few days ago, I was in a class with lots of first line managers and mid managers. It's a very tough job. You have to do your work, then manage a small team, manage a lot of interdepartmental issues, report to the boss. There's always pressure. And I think we all kind of were talking about what is that secret of a great team. It was an excellent conversation, so I summarized it, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. That how do you build a great team? So I'm going to share 5 tips that we discussed in that room. I took their permission, and I'll share it with you today. The first tip that we all agreed on also comes from my own experience. That when I worked with companies, um, there is some sort of a hierarchy or caste system within the organization, which comes from the nature of the job. And I'll give you an example. I was in the engineering department. Now, within the engineering department, there are some levels. Somebody is called an architect, the guy who really thinks through the product. A very accomplished human being, but then they have their own, coteries and systems. Then there were these people who would do coding, and they used to call them development engineers or something like that. And then there was a layer which would manage that code and do bug fixing, and they were called some other level of engineers. And then there were these testers, QA people. And what I saw, which is really probably not the best way of running an organization, but this happens. There is some sort of caste system that develops in these jobs, and they start looking down on each other. This happens in our societies also. I mean, please don't blame people on it. This is a societal issue, and we should talk about it very openly. That even in society, you'll see that people gang up together, and there are some superiority, inferiority issues that emerge with us. So in many of these companies, certain job, because of their nature of responsibility, get probably more power and money. So they think they're superior. And certain jobs which probably are very important but are not that well paid and can be done by, let's say, lots of people who are replaceable, or they think that's how it is, they are looked down upon. So my first request, and that's what everybody in that room agreed, was that what you have to create in an organization and build a good team is to create a sense of dignity amongst everyone for the job they're doing. The sentence that you should tell them is that no matter how small the job is, it's very important for the organization. And you as a manager should talk about it to your teams. You may have a job that takes a pen from here to here, but you should tell what an important job this is. Otherwise, this person will be demotivated. The people who are doing different jobs will say कि अरे ये तो कोई भी कर सकता है, you are no better. It creates these issues, and that's where the team structure breaks down. So create systems where the dignity of labor is talked about and drilled in the organization. My best example is that of a janitor who is talking to the president of the United States, and the president of United States asks the janitor, "What are you doing?" And the janitor very proudly says that I'm trying to put a man on the moon. To me, that is very important. That I may be a tester, debugger, cleaner of a boiler, but I'm trying to help the company. And it's not that if the ship is run by the captain alone, even the cleaner of the boiler is very important for the health of that ship. So dignity of labor, dignity of the job, and creating an environment where people respect each other and say that you are important for me and the organization is how you build a great team. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2, there is a concept called intrapreneurship, that you create entrepreneurship within the organization. You encourage employees to behave like entrepreneurs. A lot of good companies do that. You encourage teams that while you're doing your job, do that job, but whatever time you have, behave like an entrepreneur within the company. Collaborate with other departments, talk to them, buy their acceptance on your idea, create your own mini team and bring results. This creates 2 advantages. One, it allows the teams to not go into silos and encourage cross-discipline and inter-department synergies. Number 2, people of such organizations feel that I am the CEO myself. I'm empowered to take a idea, get help, pitch to people, I'll get funds and resources, and I might create a business unit of my own. So it's a brilliant idea. It also breaks down the walls within the organization and allows people to compete with each other with the right priorities towards their jobs. So that is request number 2, that encourage intrapreneurship, interdepartmental synergies, and allow people to use their time once they have finished their main job to look at small projects which can add value to them and to the organization. So that is how great teams are built. Number 3, please ensure that you don't create an organization which is only focused on success. Numbers, 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 numbers. And the numbers should always be stacked up. There should be a healthy curve. I think this is not sustainable. I think it's also a recipe to create toxicity in the environment. So please encourage failures. In fact, when I was, there was a case study I had read of a very innovative company. What that company would do is it would give a problem, open problem competition, allow the teams to create their own sub teams, and then challenge them that whoever fails first will get an award. Now that had an amazing view on the organization, that suddenly failing was not considered a taboo. So everybody started to come together, and they quickly, and you don't have to be nonsensical to fail. You have to apply scientific principles to do your job. But then there would be a threshold called the failure threshold, that we've done so much of work, and if we are meeting that failure threshold, that's a project failure and we call it quits. But it had an amazing feeling in the organization. People started talking about failures and rejections as if कि ये तो normal है. और ये बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है, हम लोग भूल जाते हैं कि we always look at success, we always look at promotions, we always should have a CAGR, positive growth all the time. Not sustainable. I think we have to talk about failure. So if you want to create a great team, please encourage failures, encourage people to fail quickly and learn from it and never do that mistake again. And that's how great teams are created. Number 4, I can't tell you the importance, I can't emphasize the importance of safety, diversity and inclusion more enough. You cannot create a team where people are frustrated, there are not equal opportunities, favoritism is very high, nepotism is very high, people don't talk, people don't share, people don't feel safe. And there are so many companies going through problems these days because there is a lot of toxicity for whatever reasons. And all of us have to take a conscious effort to make an organization safe. That ठीक है, आपने कुछ बोल दिया, आपको बाहर नहीं निकालेंगे, but you have to say something within the protocol of the organization. You can disagree with respect and say that I don't agree with this project, but I will do because that's what the organization has decided to do. So people should feel safe to disagree. People should feel safe to come together and work. People should feel that there is equal opportunity, whether I'm a man, women, I come from this caste, I come from that background, there's equal opportunity. There is diversity, there is inclusion, and there's a power in my personality which I'll bring on the table, and the organization will respect it. And this is something I want all you managers to start learning very quickly, that what the person calls himself or herself, what the person wears, what the person has a preference on is none of your business. Treat everyone like an equal and respect them. And if you create that safety, inclusivity and diversity, the team is so productive and the organization culture lifts off. So you do very good work because of that. And the last, role modeling. ये सब फंडे वैल्यूज़ बहुत अच्छे हैं किताबों में और lectures में. But all of you as managers, first line managers, mid managers, senior managers, C-suite managers, vice presidents, जो भी हैं आप लोग, board members, please walk the talk. I cannot tell you how the teams break down when the bosses don't behave like this. So walk the talk, make sure that all these tips that we're talking about, which I'll repeat now, that number 1, give dignity of labor to everyone. No job, no matter how small it is, you cannot tell this person that this is replaceable. You have to respect it and tell them every job, no matter how small, is important. And that's dignity of labor that you have to role model. Number 2, encourage cross-departmental intrapreneurship and reward people who are moving ahead. Number 3, encourage failures. talk about rejections very openly. Please stop this nonsensical focus on success only and positive growth growing exponentially. वो नहीं हो पाएगा बार बार. Number 4, please make the organization safe, inclusive and diverse. And number 5, please walk the talk. You as managers have to role model these qualities, because once you do, the teams are built better. So this is how you create great teams, because when you have a great team, which is not afraid to disagree, which is very productive, which feels dignity in the labor, which feels that this is a good, safe place and I will get equal opportunity, which feels that I can do something and fail and still learn and I will not be penalized. And I can talk to anyone and become a CEO of my own business within the realm of the company, is how you make a great team. And on that note, stay safe.